Is Social Security about to receive an increase? The answer is actually going to shock you because, according to multiple reports, this is something that the Trump administration is considering to increase benefits to over 70 million Americans. Now, today we're going to talk about this, where this increase could potentially come from, how we could actually arrive on this, and when we could see this. So, make sure you stick around and watch this entire video, and I'll explain exactly what is going on. But first, all I ask is one thing, takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So, everybody wants to know, is the Trump administration going to save Social Security and ensure that there is no decrease to benefits in the next 8 years? The answer to that is possibly. But that is still far down the road in 8 years. What the Trump administration is doing, according to reports, they want to change things today. Here's how they're planning to do it. Look at this, though. Because just the other day, President Trump floated the idea of a $1,000 to $2,000 stimulus check from tariff revenue. But when he proposed that, there was a lot of people that sent me messages. Hey, does that mean that people on Social Security would receive that same stimulus check? The answer is likely yes. But then I got a lot of people asking, well, if the Trump administration could give the American people a $1,000 to $2,000 stimulus check, then couldn't they just increase benefits ever so slightly, even additional $100 to $200 a month for 70 million people? Yeah, they could potentially do that. But this is where it gets interesting. Look at this. Okay, I want to show you the numbers first. It says back-to-back highs August and September bring in $62.8 billion in tariff revenue. It's about $31 billion up per month. Here's the reason why I'm showing you this. According to reports this weekend, what they are saying is that the Trump administration is looking at ways to save Social Security but also increase benefits. Now, how do they plan on doing that? Well, it's by increasing the Social Security tax rate. It is currently at 12.8%. It's 6.4% from the employee, 6.4% from the employer, or if you're self-employed, is 12.4% total. Now, here's the reason why this is important. If the Trump administration can bring in so much money, okay, $62 billion in 2 months from tariff revenue, what if we take some of that money and we eliminate the need for a federal income tax, right? No federal income tax, which is something the Trump administration has actually considered and said that is their ultimate goal, is to ensure that certain people are not paying federal income taxes. Okay, great. Now, if we don't pay federal income taxes, that means that we get to keep more of our money, right? Well, this is what the Trump administration is saying, that if they can eliminate the Social Security or the federal income tax, they could actually increase a little bit the Social Security tax rate, and most people would never know. They wouldn't know because in the end they're actually receiving more money than they would, during the prior years. So most people would be happy at the fact that they get more money in their pocket, but yet they don't realize that they eliminated the federal income tax, but they increased the Social Security tax rate. That's one of the proposals that they're considering. Here's the next one, is to increase the Social Security tax cap, which currently I think it's like $180,000 or something like that. But they're saying, what if we raise it to $250,000? So you are taxed the 12.4% on $250,000 instead of $180,000, but then after that they will actually lower the amount. Okay? So you'll get taxed more or the same amount for more money. But if you make, let's say, $1 million, you're not taxed at 12.4%. Maybe you're taxed like a half of that, like 6.2% or 3.1% from you, 3.1% from your employer. Okay, that's a possibility. Again, it would increase the amount of revenue going into the Social Security Trust Fund, which then could be doled out. So, this is why I'm bringing this to your attention. And it all stems from, again, the stimulus check. This one right here. Okay. President Trump's floating this idea to give some of the money back to the American people so they can use it within the community. And that's going to in turn build and help grow the economy. Well, guess what? For younger adults that are going to put this money into a retirement, that are going to take this money and put it into maybe an investment. Some are going to put it into things like cryptocurrencies. That doesn't actually make the economy grow. It just doesn't. But for older adults, for people that are on Social Security, they're more likely, according to reports, to use that money immediately, whether they need to pay down some debt, whether they need to, just make sure they have food on the table, pay for medications, maybe they have a medical condition that they have to afford, right? Different things here. And so again, I'm bringing this to your attention because a lot of people are asking, does this mean that there's going to be a push for Social Security potentially? Because this opens up the door now that we know the Trump administration is considering giving the money back to the American people. Because the one question I receive from so many is if the Trump administration actually passes a stimulus check of $0 to $2,000, does this mean that people on Social Security would receive it? And again, that we don't know. My intuition tells me yes, that everybody would receive it as long as you're not making over, $150,000 a year, but the majority of people would. So that's actually good news. But again, the reason why I wanted to make this video in particular is because there's reports out that yes, the Trump administration is looking at ways to reform Social Security, but without raising taxes and raising the Social Security tax cap so drastically. And so again, we could see money going back to the American people. At the same time, we could see these taxes somewhat get adjusted where you actually save money, but more money goes into Social Security. At the end of the day, we're actually paying for this by purchasing goods here inside the United States. So again, it's very interesting what they're talking about at this time. But the reason why I thought this was so important is because everything is stemming off of this tariff revenue. The more money we bring in, there's a higher chance more money goes back to the American people. And in the way that it's going to happen, honestly, we don't know at this time because as of right now, it's all just talk, speculation, and different proposals. But as soon as we get a report of an actual bill coming through that potentially has the chance of passing through the House and the Senate, I promise I'll bring you all the latest news and updates as soon as we get it. As of today, that's what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching.